Uh, okay. This video is concerning about European election 2014, and this is video interview questionnaire, and we will ask Josef Palouda, who will introduce you in a minute, about his opinion about European elections. This video is for project Citizens of Tomorrow, which will be next week in Luxembourg.
Well, thank you. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Josef Palouda. I am from Czech Republic and I live in a small town near to the Austrian border, and I work in restoring historical monuments, especially the wall paintings and decoration in these historical monuments and ancient buildings. So, as you know, these works in these days could be only made with the subsidy of the European funds. So we could say that my job is Europe dependent.
First question is, in your opinion, which are the main topics and a question when it comes to this round of European elections?
To be honest, I have no idea what the topics could be for these elections, but I suppose that because the working population in Europe is getting older, and it means that it caused the increase of the employment of the young people, graduated or not. So I suppose that this could be one of the topics for the next election. And maybe the other one could be to restart the progress in economic field, to make some good environment legislation, environment to improve the economic situation in Europe.
Okay, thank you. Second question is, how do you see the role of the members of European parliaments in the process of improvement of the European life?
To be honest, I don't think that any deputy could improve the life of any citizens in Europe. The life of the citizens in Europe could be improved only by the citizens themselves. The deputies could only make some, as I said before, could only create a good environment, I mean the political and legislative environment, to facilitate better working and living conditions for the European citizens.
Now we have there a similar question to the previous one about what do you think about the European elections, if they will bring greater results and improvement in the European Union in these times of economic crisis?
I don't think so, that the election could change anything, because I think that the European community, after the Act of Lisbon, is quite stabilized, and the replacement of some deputies, of some names in the European Parliament could hardly make any changes. I think that the directions are stabilized, are set up, and I don't expect much changes.
Now we have there again a similar question, and I think that you already answered it, but let's ask again. What kind of changes and improvements do you expect to be done in the upcoming period of 5 years after this European election?
I think that 5 years is a very short period to make great improvements and great changes. I think that no changes will be made in this period, and I expect small improvements in communication and slight increase of the centralization. And I think that it's good that the centralization will be very slow, because the rush is never good.
Finally, we have there a little bit different question about Erasmus Plus. Have you been introduced to the Erasmus Plus program, and how do you see the youth involvement in the period 2014 to 2020?
As I have a personal experience, because I participate on Erasmus education as a student 25 years ago, almost. No, it's 21 years ago. And because the Czech Republic in these times wasn't a member of European community, I wasn't a regular Erasmus student, and the program for the East Europe has been called Tempus. And I remember that it wasn't very fair situation, very equal situation for us and for the Erasmus students. The Erasmus students had more possibilities, and I think the Erasmus Plus is a good way to be equal for all students, because the education in this field, the education and exchanging, is very, very positive.
Let's get to the next question. As a European citizen, which are your needs? Which changes made in European life in the next 5 years will be the most beneficial for you as an individual?
Well, my needs are to have more subsidies from the European funds, but it's only because my job requests this money from Europe. And the second part of the question, I'm sorry.
The second part of the question is what will be in the next 5 years for you most beneficial as an individual? Like,
well, I still hope that the integration, and especially the better communication in all Europe, and I mean especially the language skills, because we have one problem in Europe, because we have almost the same money in all member states, not in the Czech Republic, but we definitely haven't the same language, and we have to improve this field, and I think we have to be able to speak all Europe in one language.
And which language you suggest?
Well, I suppose I suggest English.
English, okay. And we are getting to the last question. Have you looked for detailed information about the European election 2014, and what do you think that, or do you think that all the necessary information is displayed, and which media or website did you use to collect relevant information about that elections?
To be honest, no. Because, in this country we hardly know that there is going to be the European Parliament election next year. And the people, the citizens of Czech Republic are not very interested about the European elections. As we know that the electoral turnout of the last election in 2009 here in Czech Republic was only 27%, and it's very low. And in media there is very low information about these European elections.
And how do you think we can improve that interest of inhabitants of on Czech Republic?
I don't know. The media, especially the TV media, must do better promotions of these topics.
Okay, this was a last question for you, and thank you very much that you wanted to make this interview with me. Thank you.
It was my pleasure. Thank you.